Good morning, everyone. My name is Desairi B. Kalagi, taking the degree of Bachelor of Science in Information Technology at International School of Asia in the Pacific. Today is March 5, 2022, and for our week 1 by Sir Ryan, we are going to talk about cloud. But before that, we are going to categorize the things that we are going to talk about. First, cloud infrastructure. Second, cloud's component. Third, pricing model. And fourth, the advantage of cloud versus non-cloud computing. What is cloud? And how do we fully understand the word cloud? Before that, we need to fully go back to how it started and to how cloud actually existed and why is it that cloud is very important. Before cloud, we use verbal discussion, pen and paper, and the old IT infrastructure where we use drivers for storage. Businesses buy website. And for them to start a website itself, you need to first buy a stock of servers. Number 2, you need to issue traffic. And third, you need to monitor and maintain the servers. What is the disadvantage of not having a cloud? The disadvantage is that, number 1, it is very costly. The setup of servers are expensive, and issuing traffics are very expensive as well. Third, the troubleshooting. You need to hire another employee to fix that website. But right now, everything is online. We have entered the digital data where almost 90% of businesses in the whole world is using cloud. To fully understand what cloud is the delivery of services, including the servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence over the internet. Cloud computing. Cloud computing is the storing of data or application on a remote server. Number 2, processing data from the server. And number 3, accessing the data via internet. From this itself, cloud is very important in our industry nowadays, since everything is digitalized and we have generated data in every millisecond. In everything we do, data is generated. We click data. We produce data as if we are breathing through it. Now, we are going to talk about our first category, cloud infrastructure. Cloud infrastructure has service models. Service models has 3 parts. First is the IaaS, stands for Infrastructure as a Service. Second is the PaaS, which is the Platform as a Service. And third, the Software as a Service. First, we are going to talk about the SaaS, which is Software as a Service. Software as a Service. Software as a Service. For example, Gmail. We are going to use the Gmail. We are going to use the Gmail. So the Gmail is the software that is providing us users the service to use the software. Halimbawa ako, gagamitin ko yung software ni Gmail para mag-send at makareceive ng email galing sa ibang tao. Therefore, the software is providing us a service. Number 2, platform as a service. Platform as a service is using the platform to create your own application. For example, Google Engines. Gusto kong gumawa ng application gamit ang Google Engine. So, gagawa ako ng application ko sa platform ng Google Engine. Now, we are going to talk about number 3. Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS. IaaS is no underlying physical machine. Therefore, you are going to build your own application. You have the control over the operating system, the technology you are going to use, and how you are going to incorporate it to the system. Now, we are going to talk about the deployment models. Deployment models has 3 parts. First is the public. Second is the private. Third is the hybrid. Public cloud. Public cloud is owned and operated by a third-party service provider. They deliver resources like servers and space over the internet. They also manages the infrastructure, all the hardwares and software of the cloud. You can just access it on a web browser. You can access the services and manage your account through web browser. Number 2, private cloud. Private cloud is owned by a single business or an organization. It is either you create your own application and it is protected by a firewall. Private cloud resources, it's either physically located on site in the business, or you are going to let the service provider to maintain the cloud itself. Number 3, hybrid. Hybrid cloud is the combination of the public and private cloud. So, you own the application. So, you have the right to create your own application and move it to public and vice versa. What are and now we are going to talk about cloud providers. There are many cloud providers. First and foremost, Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services provides hundreds of services, and they are most known and used service because of their cheap prices. Number 2 is the Microsoft Azure, Google Platform, IBM Cloud, DigitalOcean, TerraMark, Google Cloud Platform. Now, we are going to talk about the third category, which is price model. How to choose a good service provider? For me, for example, if I were a business entrepreneur, I would set a standard of 3. First, I would like my service provider to be customer friendly, transparent, and packet friendly. I have the power to choose a service provider that suits the standard that I needed for my company. Now, we are going to talk about the 3 pricing fundamentals. First is compute, second is storage, third is data transfer. Number 1, compute. Amazon Web Services only charges on the process and service that you have consumed. For example, You have consumed the service for 1 hour. Therefore, you are just going to pay for the hour that you have consumed the service. Number 2, storage. AWS charges only in storage. How? If I have used 5 gigabyte, then therefore I'm going to pay the 5 gigabyte. But how about scaling? There's no problem. Even if you scaled up, the only thing that you're going to pay is the amount that you have used the storage. If you scaled up and you haven't occupied half of the upgrade that you have intended to be occupied, then you are just going to pay the storage that you have consumed. Next, data transfer. AWS only charges the data transfer that goes in and out. Therefore, if a business entrepreneur had used the service that use data transfer, then they are just going to pay for the data transfer that they have consumed. Now we are going to discuss about the Amazon Web Services pricing models. There are 3 types of pricing models in AWS. First is the pay as you go, second is the pay less as you get more, and third, save when you reserve. First, we are going to discuss about the save pay as you go. Pay as you go is commonly used as a broad and easy, flexible for businesses. For example, I have consumed 25 gigabyte for first 3 months, but I end up only using 10 gigabyte. Therefore, the pay-as-you-go will only charge me to the storage that I've used and the services that I have consumed. Next, pay less as you get more. A discount implemented to saving. Number 3, save when you reserve. Reserve the services in advance. In the OWS Compute or OWS Machine Learning, saving plans offer savings over on-demand in exchange for commitment to use a specific amount. And AWS services categorize services for 1 or 2 to 3 years period. The payments. First is the no upfront cost, second is the partial upfront, and third is the full upfront cost. The no upfront cost is that you can go ahead and reserve your resources and the services and not pay anything, but it is costly that way. Now, the partial upfront cost, you are going to pay the partial lapse amount using the resources and the services. And the third is the full upfront cost, deciding the amount of resources to use and the compute the capacity to use. Which is the best method of payment? Of course, the best payment for me, I do believe, is the partial upfront, since you are going to pay half the amount that you are going to use. Next. Also, I want to mention that AWS offer free trial account, which provides these following services: Amazon Elastic Cloud Compute, 750 hours, month Windows or Linux, Elastic Load Balancer, which is 750 hours plus 15 GB data processing, Elastic Block Storage, 30 gigabyte in combination of the SSD magnetic 2 million input-output, and 1 gigabyte of snapshot storage. Also, there are many other accounts under the AWS free account. Now, we are going to discuss about the fourth category, which is the advantage of using cloud computing versus non-cloud computing. There are many benefits of cloud computing. First is the agility. The cloud gives you easy access to a broad range of technologies so that you can innovate and build fastless nearly anything that you can imagine. You can quickly spin up resources as you need them, from the infrastructure services as much as compute, storage, databases, to Internet of Things, machine learning, and data leaks analysis, and much more. You can deploy technology services in a matter of minutes and get idea to the implementation several orders of magnitude faster than before. This gives you the freedom to experiment, test new ideas to different customer serve experiences, and transform your business. Number 2, elasticity. With cloud computing, you don't have to over-provision resources upfront to handle peak levels of business activity in the future. Instead, you provision the amount of resources that you actually need. You can scale the resources up or down to instantly grow and shrink capacity as the business needs to change. Number 3, deploy globally in minutes. With the cloud, you can expand to the new geographic regions and deploy globally in minutes. For example, AWS has infrastructure all over the world. So you can deploy your application in multiple physical locations with just a few clicks. Putting applications in closer proximity to end users reduces latency and improves their experience. Fourth, cost efficiency. A lot of business are now shifting to cloud because it is cost efficient. Why? Before the cloud, every company needs to save and to store their data in a disk. Now, cloud offers enormous storage spaces, and you can end up saving more and getting resources from the clouds. Next, it is high speed. Cloud computing deploys the service in fewer clicks. The quick deployment let the resources required for a system within the minutes. It is excellent accessibility. Storing information in the cloud allows us to access anywhere in the world with only using the internet. So that is one of the best and powerful help. 7, backup and restore data. Once data is stored in the cloud, it is easier to get it back up and recovery, which is a quite time-consuming process and on the non-cloud technology. Number 8, strategic edge. The cloud computing provides a company with a competitive edge over its competitors when it comes to accessing the latest and mission-critical application that needs without having to invest in its time and money for installation. Now, let the company focus on keeping up with the business competition by offering access to the most trending and in-demand applications and doing all the manual work of the installation and maintaining the application for the company. Let's talk about the difference between non-cloud and cloud in terms of the following: deployment, cost, control, security. Let's talk about deployment. Non-cloud is an on-premises environment. Resources are deployed in-house and within enterprises' IT infrastructure. An enterprise is responsible for maintaining the solution and all its related premises. While cloud, there are different forms of cloud computing, such as public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. In a public cloud computing, resources are hosted on the premises of the service provider, but the enterprises are able to access those resources and use as much as they want in given time. Cost. The non-cloud for the enterprises that deploy software, they are responsible for the ongoing cost of the server hardware, power consumption, and space, while the cloud enterprises that elect to use a cloud computing model only need to pay the resources that they use, with none of them keeping the maintenance, upkeep cost, price adjustment up and down depending on how much you consume. 3. Control. The non-cloud environment enterprises retain all the data, are fully in control of what happened, for better or for worse. While non-cloud environment and vendors' data and encryption keys reside within your third-party provider, so if unexpected happens and there is downtime, you may able to access that data.